Nolan might miss one of these. Let's see. Yes, thought so. Probably would have leveled up if that had hit too. Now, I would say Micaiah can finish this one off, but I actually don't want Micaiah fighting because she's already level capped. Okay, let's see. Let's just have Jill hopefully smash you, even though it probably won't happen. Thought as much. I will need to use Tormod here. And I will also definitely need to use Micaiah here. Oh, that's really bad. That's really, really bad. Now 2 people are poisoned, but Micaiah can just sacrifice to cure that. So, please tell me Tormod can... Tormod's hit rates are not great either. But venom weapons are really weak, so I feel like if I leave one of you alive, you probably won't kill Micaiah unless you double... This is why this map... Wow. Okay, that's really terrible. Holy crap. That's even worse than I thought. Yeah, like I said, this chapter is a pain because... Now I need to retreat both of you. Alright, that last turn didn't go well. Let's hope things go better this turn. Alright, this is not good. I really hope that longbow guy is not in range of Nolan. Might be nice if you gain a point of defense here. That might help you. That's decent. Good. Oh, please don't die to... Well, he's not going to die to poison because you went for Tormod. 97 accuracy. I blame this guy starting in high biorhythm. That's why biorhythm sucks in this game. Finally, Tormod actually hit, but now we have so many poison people. Yeah, Aaron is not exactly going to be doubling many things, but... Oh god, Nolan, please don't die. He's going to die to poison. Yeah, that's a problem with this chapter. This might be one of the first times I've had someone die to poison. Wow. So, which special boss conversation should I show first? Let's go with... I think I'll show Soft before Micaiah. Yeah, in fact, I can show them both in the same attempt. Soth is great in this one. Okay, next, I'll show Volug's. This also applies to Nyla, but for Volug, Jarod won't die, so I'll be able to show other conversations in the same attempt. That's all you get, unfortunately. Now, I don't know if he actually attacks Raphael or not. Who has the card? Or did I transfer the card? No, I didn't. Okay. This is normally a really bad idea. But yeah, you have to manually... Okay, I can end up killing Jarod with a Heron. That would be hilarious. I need to restart to do the Black Knight's one anyway, because the Black Knight will just obliterate him, but I guess I can show this. Let's just say Raphael has experienced slavery before, and he doesn't want to be that way again. Yes, Jarod killed by a Heron. Do I get experience for that? Yes. Not enough to level up, though, sadly. And it untransformed him. Okay, I have to reset now to show some of the others. So now it's time for one of the best boss conversations, which unfortunately requires you to massively waste experience here. Seriously, don't do this unless you have a battle save. You don't want Jarod's experience going to the Black Knight. And 3 gets us how this is going to go when the first 2 don't count.
Will you survive?
And finally, Micaiah's. That is literally true because of the game over conditions. I might as well show the battle. And that's all for the special boss conversations. Like I said, there is one more that's for Lagoos that aren't wolves, but it's not really all that major. So with that, I'll cut back to the main footage. I sort of wish we got a different victory theme here. Because this is not just any victory, we actually finally liberated Daein. No, you didn't. Well, you might have heard it in the gameplay standpoint, but from a story standpoint, you were pretty useful. You really think that is not a good way to show gratitude? Seriously. It's like, oh yeah, well this is not much, but I'm gonna make you Supreme Commander and just give you this really, really high position within my court. Yeah. And these two do work well together. Fortunately, we haven't seen Izuka since that whole incident, so hopefully he won't be having much of an influence in their affairs. I think these two can do good things together. It'll take a while before Daein is fully back. Also, this appointment to her new position is not just a story thing. And yet again, this is very similar to how Ike promoted in Path of Radiance. It's all very deliberate. You'll see them draw attention to the parallels later. And because this is a Tellius game, promotion for a main character comes with a new outfit. Micaiah alt confirmed, I guess. It's not quite as iconic as her initial outfit, but it looks pretty good. So yeah, get used to Micaiah looking like this, because this is what, this is the outfit she'll be wearing for, Part 3. As for why Micaiah is not going to be playable during Part 2, you'll see. Part 2 focuses on somewhere different. I love this sequence. The bell ringing here actually kind of ties into, so the name of the first map theme, which sadly only played in 2 chapters, which it was a really good map theme. It's called Echoes of Daybreak in English, but in the Japanese version it's called Late Sounding Bell, which, I don't know, I kind of like that name better. And I almost feel like it fits here. But finally Navassa is free, everyone can celebrate. And I like how we actually get to see our army in their map models, which reflects whether they're promoted or not in this scene here. Unfortunately, as you can see there, a certain someone is still here. Even the merchants are here. This probably looks better if Meg's promoted. Just a note, I actually equipped Toroniu's steel lance rather than his javelin, because I feel like having him with a javelin makes this scene look awkward. Yes, don't look at Izuka. Great. You're already making progress. And Peleus is officially crowned King of Daein. He is hoping he'll be able to avoid the mistakes his father made. And with that, finally we can all celebrate. Although, we have a few farewells to make, sadly. These 3 are team barely appearing in this game for a reason. Yes, please stay, please don't have non-existent availability. Yeah, it's a shame. Daein still has problems. I hope things will be better with Peleus and Micaiah running things. Make a girl cry, that's not gonna fly. And Soth has turned into a tsundere. I love the narrow, sarcastic eyes there. I feel like Maureen's probably met Branded before. And now we get to see it. Brands always manifest on different places on people's bodies. Her one is pretty hard to hide. As I mentioned, Branded are a bit more significant to the plot in Radiant Dawn as compared to Path of Radiance. And this is a big reason why. This is actually a very important plot point regarding Brandon. They do bring this up with Soren and Stefan's supports in Path of Radiance. They mention how it's really hard for him to hide that he doesn't age as fast as other people do. I would agree, but sadly this is about the point in the game where Soth starts to drop off a bit. Though, he's not terrible in Part 3. And a rare Vika line. Seriously, you three, please don't go. Please don't go. I don't think, like, there are just so few examples in the series I can think of anyone shafted in the availability department as much as these three. Besides, I'm a mage, so the desert's not going to slow me down. However, we have even more farewells. Yeah, they wouldn't have us, they wouldn't give us Nyla for that long. So, we're gonna have to say goodbye to our I win button. This is why you don't want to rely on her very much, for this part, because if you get used to having her around and become too dependent on her, she's gone at the end of Part 1 for a while. And it's very important that these two get to Gallia. I'm sure they are too. This is a nice moment as well. This is also pretty nice artwork. Well, yeah, that line by Tormod is so painful. We will, but it won't be for so long. But not everyone is saying goodbye. Volog is going to stay with us. Do you mean him and Volog, or him and the bird? Probably him and Volog. And on that note, Part 1 is over.
While Daein celebrates its rebirth, rebellion spreads across neighboring Crimea. The young Queen Alincia holds the throne, but her nation is in turmoil. She begins to doubt her ability to rule. What will become of her country? Part 2 of Countries and Kings.
So, those preview movies, they happen between most parts. And here's another dead giveaway that we haven't seen the last of the Dawn Brigade, because we got bonus experience from that chapter. This bonus experience will not carry over to Part 2 though, but we will still have it when the Dawn Brigade returns. Every party has their own bonus experience pool. But anyway, what I was saying, those preview movies that happen between parts, they are actually exclusive to the English version. They were created specifically for it. And while I am going to show that one, I don't think I'll be showing the preview movies for Parts 3 and 4, because I feel like Part 3 especially is kind of a big spoiler. So, I'm going to hold off on showing those. I might show those towards the end of the game, but I'm going to cut those out when I record those parts. Speaking of parts, I thought I'd take this time now to talk about how I feel about Part 1 in general. I think I'll give my final thoughts on each part once we get to the end. I've said it before, I feel like the main issue with Part 1 is just how quickly things move and how the war just gets compressed after 1-6. All of a sudden, it's like, we're winning battles everywhere, but we just don't really get to see them. There could have easily been a couple of extra chapters in there, maybe one where we went back to Talriga to liberate it. It would have also given Fiona more availability as well. But overall, I still quite like Part 1. Its difficulty is very unforgiving, especially if you're new to Fire Emblem, and if you don't know who to train, things can get very, very difficult when the Dawn Brigade returns in Part 3. And why do they have to give Meg and Fiona, two of the worst characters in the game, to the party that needs all the help they can get? And the balance is a little bit weird, because then they give you people like Jill and Zihak, who are amazing, and then Nyla and the Black Knight towards the end, who are incredibly broken, but over-relying on them will seriously set you back in Part 3. So there are a lot of traps for newcomers in Part 1, and that makes this game not all that inviting for somebody new to it. It's partly why I don't recommend going into this game blind. I recommend at the very least seeing a walkthrough, or not to blow my own trumpet, but this playthrough maybe, so I hope that this has helped anyone who's been playing through this game so far. And splicing in this audio in post because I forgot to give my thoughts on this at the time, but Part 1's big bad, Jarod. I think he's a decent starter villain. Yeah, he doesn't really have a lot of character and he's pretty much generically evil for not much reason, but I still think he's a good love-to-hate character. And he gives Part 1 a good central antagonist that they constantly build up to you fighting before finally delivering on that at the end. Jarod is basically what I wish Petrine was in Path of Radiance. They're very similar characters overall, villains that you're supposed to hate and that the story goes out of its way to make you hate as much as possible, without all that much motivation. I find this kind of villain works well if they're fought and killed off early in the story, as your first major boss fight. With Petrine, they had the perfect opportunity to do this, but instead they just forgot about her for almost half the game, so by the time you finally did fight her, she'd stopped being relevant a long time ago. Jarod, though, he lasted the perfect amount of time, not so long that he overstayed his welcome like Hans and Iago, but enough to build up to a big climactic confrontation, which I feel the game really did deliver on. So overall, I like Jarod as a villain. Overall, like I said, I do think Part 1 is pretty decent. Its storyline is fairly basic, but it's kind of just a microcosm of what happened in Path of Radiance. But I do like how they invert who the good guys and the bad guys are since the last game, and they show how, yeah, things aren't always black and white. There are good people in Daein, and there are some very bad people among our allies from the last game. And nowhere is that going to be more evident than in Part 2. Part 2 is extremely interesting in that regard. In fact, there's a lot of people who consider Part 2 to be the best aspect of this game's story, and I might actually agree. It's going to be Alincia's finest moment. I already thought that Alincia's development in the last game was great. She gets even better in this one. But it has an even bigger impact though if you saw her grow and develop during all of Path of Radiance. Because, well, we're going to see where that development leads. But also we're going to show how Crimea isn't perfect. And we're also going to see that instilling the rightful heir to a throne doesn't magically make things get better, especially if this rightful heir has been in hiding for all their life and none of the other major politicians in the country knew they existed. Let's just say that causes problems, so look forward to Part 2 of Countries and Kings next time. I know I am, because it's actually a pretty good one, although it is very short. For now, though, we're leaving the Dawn Brigade in Micaiah, and I will see you next time.